2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won a popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the Electoral College vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it all, 89% of the counties shifted against.
Whoopi Goldberg and the rest of The View bring on Stephen A. Smith live on The View. And things take a turn here when Stephen A. Smith has to school the entire View panel on why Donald Trump won the presidential election. He drops nothing but truth bombs and does not hold anything back on The View and leaves them all shocked. Let's get into this clip here where Stephen A. Smith has to school the entire View panel on why Donald Trump won the presidential election.
So Trump's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the Electoral College vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won a popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the Electoral College vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it all, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
Well, it's a different definition of a mandate, I guess.
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
we should continue to do that. Don't continue to do that. Find a new strategy.
But do you think those groups, the black voters, the Latino voters, and the others that you mentioned, are they going to regret it soon?
Possibly. I think so. I don't like what I'm seeing from Trump. I didn't like what I saw with Zelensky. I didn't like what I saw with a few things. But in the end,
Zelensky?
The point, I didn't like it. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. The American people, in their eyes, it wasn't about him. They were voting against what the Democrats were throwing in their direction. I don't only talk to Cuomo. I did interview Eric Adams. I did interview Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. I interviewed these people. I've talked to them, and I'm going to talk to some more of them, too. And I'm going to say the same message. What are you doing to win? I love Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland. I love Josh McCarroll of Pennsylvania, okay? I just interviewed Cuomo. I like him a lot. I want somebody to step up and recognize that man in the Oval Office, whether you like it or not, is potent. He's coming and he wins. You got to find a way to beat him. This way is not the way that the Democrats have been doing it.
Let's talk about how people are feeling about his performance, because a CNN poll this week found that 52% of people disapprove of Trump's performance in office so far.
Stephen A. Smith keeps it pretty real in this moment. He's not saying he fully supports Trump, but he's laying out the facts that a lot of people don't want to hear, including the entire View panel. Trump didn't just slip by this election. He gained a lot of ground in key swing states, improved his voters with black, Latino, and young voters, even flipped 89% of counties to the right side. That's not nothing now. That's a pretty big deal if you ask me. Stephen A. Smith also points out that whether you like Trump or not, the numbers show momentum, and that matters a lot. He's basically calling out the Democratic Party and saying, you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, and it's just not working. And Stephen A. Smith's just pointing that out. He's urging Democrats to stop making excuses and actually figure out how to win. He even says the vote wasn't about Trump. It was a rejection of what Democrats were offering. Whether you agree with him or not, you can't deny that Stephen A. is pushing for accountability on both sides. He's saying if you want to beat Trump, you better take him seriously, because right now he's just the winner. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments.
So even though he may have won the general election by less than 50%, 52% disapprove of what he's doing. We're also seeing Republican voters at town halls opposing his executive overreach, giving Elon Musk the shadow presidency. Yet you said, quote, Trump is closer to normal than what we're seeing on the left.
Yeah, I was talking about why he won the
How
election.
so?
When I made that statement, I was talking about that was before the election.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
So when during the election, I said, in the immediate aftermath of the election, I pointed out he was voted for because they considered him closer to normal than what the Democrats were spewing. That was what I said at that particular moment in time. Now, obviously, Elon Musk is an entirely different matter altogether.
Right.
This man is not an elected official. He hasn't been confirmed by the Senate or anything, but he's got an inordinate amount of power.
Given to him by Trump.
I can understand how that could scare the living daylights out of folks, and the approval ratings. Obviously, we pay attention to that. But here's the bigger question. Who on the Democratic side are the American people pointing to and saying that's the person?
We'll see.
Well,
They don't have anybody
We'll
yet.
see.
Well,
They have
we're
plenty.
6 weeks in with you know who.
National Voice.
Right.
We're 6 weeks in with you
Leader
know who.
Jeffries.
Everybody said let him do what he's doing so we can see what's going on. So, and now people are saying, well, what are you going to do as a Democrat? Well, wait a minute now. Y'all didn't want to hear what we had to say as Democrats because that wasn't what people voted
That's
for.
true.
So now we have a clear definition, and the American people will decide how they like what he's doing because now it's affecting in a way that people were not anticipating. People who didn't think they would be affected, like the folks who work in the federal government, they never saw this coming.
And
They
people can't
never
make
saw this
omelets
coming. Sorry
anymore.
about
That's
that.
right.
People can make omelets. Everybody doesn't eat eggs.
Stephen A. Smith is just basically pointing out something that a lot of people don't want to admit. Voters made their choice, and now they're living with the results. He's saying Democrats were ignored before the election, but now that things are starting to impact people just kind of directly, especially folks in the federal government who never expected to feel the hit, suddenly there's a different energy. People are waking up to the fact that elections have real consequences, even for those who thought they were safe. And Stephen A. Smith isn't sugarcoating any of it. He's just dropping straight truth bombs and, like I just said, not sugarcoating it at all. This is what the people voted for. Let's see how they like it now. Whether you support Trump or not, he's challenging everyone to stop talking in circles and start paying attention to what is really happening, just basically reality. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this video, and I'll see you guys on the next topic.